Nowadays, everywhere you look, a male SEIYUU artist or 2D group is releasing digital singles. These are a small taste of what a SEIYUU artist or 2D group has been doing, an intermission between big CDs. In this unscripted episode, let's talk about digital singles and how some examples in 2023 may end up setting a weird trend down the line. Let's kick off this episode of SEIYUU Lounge. Welcome to SEIYUU Lounge. I am your host Vanessa, and today's topic is digital singles, the new trend set on taking out the fun of CD releases. Well, digital singles have been a thing used by most artists to try new ideas, to tease new CD releases, or just to save money on music distribution costs. That trend has now started to take over male SEIYUU artists and 2D groups, and more than ever we get pre-release singles, digital singles that eventually find their way into full-length releases. All okay and good, but what happens when an artist releases a digital single only to, a couple of months later, releasing a single with just 2 songs and that digital single is in there? What happens when a SEIYUU teases almost all the songs in a new album by pre-releasing those as digital singles? Where is the novelty on those CDs? Well, on a recent episode of Monthly Review, which is a monthly video feature on the THTFHQ's YouTube channel, in which I cover the best CDs released in any given month, I ended up going on a tangent about it. As such, I bring you an unscripted talk about digital singles and how Mamoru Miyano and Yumo Uchida recently have started to go all out on those, quite possibly something that King Amusement Creative wants to become a full-on trend within their music label. Let's talk as well about how releasing digital singles in quick succession ends up wasting an opportunity to impress with something truly new and unique in their full-length albums or physical singles. The next episode is more about you and I analyzing the core issue behind this potential trend and the reasons why it is, in a way, important for SEIYUU artists and 2D groups, but also hindering their chances to impress. From this point on, if you are on Spotify or any other streaming platform, know that the following part is viewable on YouTube, as it ended up being an off-take that I didn't use for Monthly Review's September episode. So let's dive in. I was going to talk about the trend of releasing digital singles by SEIYUU artists, and it's basically SEIYUU artists, and then following it up with a mini album and an album release. This is a big topic, and I believe I will explore that in a specific SEIYUU Lounge episode, so if you follow the podcast, that will be a topic. But I've already talked a little bit about that. I find it interesting to build up the hype to a big release, and release 1 or 2 singles to build up that hype. I find it weird, like Yumo Uchida is doing, of releasing 6 digital singles, and out of those 6, at least 4 will be in the new album, minus the songs that had been previously released and that will also be in that album. So when I arrive to that album, it won't sound new to me. That's why I am avoiding the digital singles by Daiki Yamashita and Gakuto Kajiwara, because I feel it will happen the same thing, and I don't want to make the stupid mistake of listening to those prior to a CD release, because when I arrive to that specific CD release, that will not sound new to me and will easily not be counted as a best CD of the year, for me at least. So that's something that Yumo Uchida's Why is going to suffer from, because I have already listened to most of the digital singles so far, and the CD won't bring too many new songs to it, so that's not something that I was expecting would be something good. I'm more of a fan of, if you have a 12-song CD dropping soon, you will at least release the leading track 1 month earlier with the full music video, for basically to hype up everyone, and maybe 2 months earlier you release a snippet of one of the songs within that CD that isn't the leading track, and you stop that. You do not release all the digital singles of most of the songs that are going to be in that CD. I believe it is a strategy that makes sense to the music labels because they are making money twice. They are selling the digital singles that you are going to purchase, and then you are going to purchase the physical CD. That's money earned twice with the same song. For me, I believe that it loses all the interest in the song because when you arrive to the CD, you already know that the song is there. You will be only expecting how that song will fit within that CD. You will not be expecting something new or something because you already know what to expect. And that loses, at least for me, much of the interest that I have for a CD if I have listened to most, if not all, the songs that are in it. So I feel like the strategies should be to start teasing the CD 2 months earlier. In the 2 months before the CD releases, you get a snippet of one of the songs in that CD, and then 1 month prior to the CD release, you get the full leading track available for purchase and on streaming platforms, as well as the full music video for that song available online. And that's how you build up the hype to that CD. You do not release all digital singles for a CD and make it... I find it really weird, the strategy. I was saying that it was genius until I noticed that those songs would be part of Yumochida's Why. Because why are you going to release a digital single series followed by a full-length album that includes most of those songs? It doesn't make any sense. Unless you are trying to make money, of course. We think that artists are creating music because they love, but by the end of the day they need to pay their bills, so they are trying to make money. So I'm not going to judge that. If I was in their position, I may do the very same, but with a different strategy. But I find it to be pointless to release digital singles followed by a CD. How this could be really special was if these digital singles were songs that were not going to be included in the CD, but, for example, the CD was full of new songs and that CD came with a special edition that brought all the digital singles that were released up until then in there. So you got a full-on 12 songs or 10 songs album that was fully new, and then you got a CD, an extra CD, for example, for the deluxe edition or a box edition that brought a second disc that included the digital singles released in the previous months, and that were basically only digital singles. That would be a better way to approach that, and that would make the digital version more appealing than adding stickers and photos that no one is going to use. They are going to look at for a couple of minutes, but they are going to shelve those and save those in a place and won't be seeing those much. They won't be as useful as, for example, the CDs would be. So that's my opinion about exclusivity and digital singles and the sort. For example, Mamoru Miyanu's recently released digital single is going to be part of a physical single in December or November. I'm not really sure. I don't recall the date. It's kind of pointless to have one digital single be included in a single that only has 3 songs. Why are you releasing the same song twice in a really small release twice? It doesn't make any sense to me. If it is a pre-release song, you make a pre-release song of a mini album or an album. You do not make of a simple, small release like a single. A single can have 2, maximum 3 songs, and you are releasing or pre-releasing a song from that single. Who will want to pay $10 for the single that already has a previously released one? If they are going to wait for a full-length album that is going to include that digital single, 1 song from that single, and then other songs from other singles, and 3 or 4 new songs in that album. I don't understand those strategies, and this is me talking from a marketing standpoint. It doesn't make any sense to abuse the idea of digital singles. You can use that to your advantage to build up hype, really well done, to tease the fans about the songs, really showing snippets, for example, without voice, only the instrumental, snippets of the instrumental, to build up hype, to make people talk about, to make people curious, but not enough to spoil a song, and then to release a full-blown music video for the leading track that will be the very best example of what your album is about. That's the best way to do it. You are not going to make digital releases and then inserting those in singles and promote the song twice in a really small release, because singles do not sell well. We've already seen that in the Oricon charts. Singles do not sell well, albums do. So why making the same release twice if it is not going to sell that well? Beats me, really. And the strategy that Yumochid is using of releasing digital singles to celebrate the 5th anniversary, it is really awesome. It could be even more special if those digital singles were really a specific series that would be added as a bonus to the CD that is going to be released, instead of the songs being in the CD that is going to be released, and it will only have 4 or 5 songs that are new by the end of the day. So that's my take on that, but that's a take from someone that works in the marketing industry and that has been studying the music industry around the world for more than a decade. So these are really hot takes that many of you may not have and many of you may not agree, but still it is a really odd way to adapt a strategy that usually would be awesome, but you are only and obviously using it to make more money, not to bring any new value to the fans. So I'm on the fence with this trend of releasing digital singles. As you can tell, it seems that King Amusement Creative is going wild on digital single releases. I'm not going to blame them, as the music industry is, you know it, an industry. They are in it to make money. But releasing several singles in quick succession in a special collection and then bundling them up in a CD, which makes them automatically lose that special or exclusive status, is a bit pointless. To release a digital single and soon after releasing a single with 3 songs and that song is also there, it doesn't make any sense to basically sell the same song twice. I find it a bit predatory, regardless of who is the male seiyuu artist or 2D group doing that. In a way, that reminds me of that practice in the K-pop industry of releasing a full CD and soon after releasing a repackaged CD. That repackaged CD only has 1 new song and has all the other songs that were in the original CD. The only new things, and you are paying full price for that, are the cover and 1 new song. When I enjoyed K-pop music, that baffled me. It is predatory, no doubt. And now I am seeing something in the same style happening with male seiyuu artists specifically, but with digital singles and soon after, full-on releases including most of those and adding little value to paying fans. If a seiyuu artist or 2D group was selling like crazy, I could understand it. But most seiyuu struggle to even reach 2,000 copies sold per CD, much less selling 10,000, which would be a fair amount to warrant, for example, a repackaged album. But selling as seiyuu continue to sell, betting on digital singles can be a good idea. However, not mixing those with full album or CD releases. If people get the digital singles, the full albums or physical singles won't sell well. People already own that music. Those are basically my 2 cents about digital singles and how dangerous it is to approach those like K-pop approaches repackaged albums. So what do you think about this? Do you like that seiyuu are releasing more digital singles and thus are more active? Or would you prefer them to take their time and release their music as physical singles or albums? Let me know in the comments on YouTube, and remember, leave your comments as complex or as simple as they may be, and you can be featured on upcoming episodes of SEIYUU Lounge. If you enjoyed this episode and don't want to miss the Hand That Feeds HQ's weekly male SEIYUU and music-related content, hit the subscribe button. And if you are listening to this episode on a podcast listening platform, please consider following the podcast and leaving a review. Leaving a review is really simple and helps other people find this podcast and fall in love with male SEIYUU artists and 2D groups. I'll return next week with another episode of SEIYUU Lounge. Thank you for listening, and see you guys around.